5. The Arthur Kill Boatyard, New York. Since the 20th century, this passage has been an iconic site where ships have come to die. The area is a highly sought-after place for scuba divers as well, eager to take in some historical wreckage, and a truly eerie sight. Known as the Arthur Kill Boatyard, after the waterway in which this recycling site sits, between Staten Island and New York, the shipyard was founded in the 1930s by John J. Witt. When it was opened, the intent was to sell salvaged parts from old decrepit ships, yet Witt prohibited his workers from dismantling a ship until he already had a buyer in place. Thus, ships began to accumulate and collect dust over the years. At its peak, however, the graveyard saw about 400 vessels predating World War I in its heyday. One thing that makes the Arthur Kill Boatyard unique is the wide variety of ships left to rest within its ruddy waters. Tugboats, warships, fishing boats, and ferries pervade the shoreline here. And after the founder died in 1980, the corporation became the Don John Marine Company. This turned into a fast-acting ship dismantling business, and today, only about 25 ships remain. 4. The Bay of Nouadhibou, Mauritania. Dotting the sparkling white shoreline and teetering among turquoise waters are hundreds of old ships. As here, a ship graveyard encompasses both land and sea. Located in Mauritania, more than 300 vessels are found both submerged in water and perched precariously in the sand. And the inhabitants of both easily deem this region one of the largest shipyards in the world. The Bay of Nouadhibou is a highly popular dumping ground due to its uncensored clearance of scrap metal into the bay, and this isn't necessarily a good thing. On one level, shipbreaking is one of the planet's greenest industries, as every nut, bolt, and scrap of metal is recycled. On another, it's devastating to marine life and a severe driving force of pollution. To add to the long list of our planet's problems, ship graveyards have come under scrutiny of environmental activists and preservationists of our ocean's ecosystems and ecology. Greenpeace is a strong advocate, fighting to bring awareness of the repercussions at hand. For example, dry docks allow for the dismantling of ships in a safe area free from marine life. But dry docks, and the regulations imposed, come with a price. That is, following rules and regulations are costly. It's much cheaper, if not free, to dump toxic waste into the sea. But ships weren't always brought here by man. Naturally, vessels sought out this sparkling speck of sea all on their own. As long ago, Mauritania was the ideal shelter for distressed ships after tropical storms raged their tempers over the Indian Ocean. Despite ships often colliding with sharp reefs and soon, an underwater graveyard accumulated under the will of Mother Nature. Through an exchange of peace by way of ecology and industry, ships became the vessel with which to allow the new growth of ecosystems. Soon, ships were deliberately planted under the water to form artificial reefs, a practice since the 18th century by Japanese fishermen to allow the creation of new ecosystems and the protection of species. Hundreds of ships were brought to the Bay of Nouadhibou to be disposed of in the area during the 80s. One of the most popular wrecks of the graveyard is a reefer vessel called United Malacca. Pertly stilted within the sand, the old Moroccan cooling ship has been attracting visitors since 2003. 3. The Kidani Breaking Yard. Near Karachi, Pakistan, massive tankers and cruise liners are scrapped along the shorefront by teams using little more than hand tools and receiving wages as low as $2.83 per day. Despite the job being one of the most hazardous in the world, there is no shortage of help. In fact, new legal actions have been implemented due to the alarming rise of deaths and injuries to shipyard workers. Even with these numbers, the trade continues to employ hundreds of thousands of workers from some of the world's poorest countries. Owners knowingly send their ships to Asian beaches where laws are hardly followed. A ship is dismantled as quickly as possible for a guiltless exchange of cash. From nearby squatter settlements, workers come and swarm the 10-kilometer stretch of beach at the Kidani Breaking Yard, where the expansive ship-breaking yard consists of over 130 ship-breaking posts. The yard provides employment to over 6,000 people who dismantle about 125 ships a year. Men die, break their legs, and tear limbs. But nothing stops them, as muscle and machine come together to demolish what were once sovereign ships on the open sea. 2. Chittagong, Bangladesh. The second largest shipbreaking centre in the world, Chittagong in Bangladesh recycled 230 ships and generated 10 million tons of steel last year alone. The workers live in overcrowded shacks located close to the yards, a place that is hidden behind high metal gates and bears all the warmth a steel cemetery can muster. The region is ideal in that it slopes down to the Bay of Bengal, making ship disposal into the polluted waters all that much more effortless. It takes months for the men to finish a job using only sledgehammers, metal cutters and fear to dismantle a large vessel. In 2017, 6 workers died, either falling from massive heights or from uncontrollable fires breaking out on the job. 1. Alang, Gujarat, India. With respect to shipbreaking in the Indian subcontinent, Alang in Gujarat, India, is hands down the world's largest ship graveyard, overseeing the dismantling of 50% of the world's vessels. Located in the Gulf of Kambat, over 100 yards of beach pay homage to the breaking of ships, including car ferries, ocean liners, container ships, and large supertankers. The past 3 decades have made this site one of the most popular ship cemeteries on the planet, as even the world's longest vessel ever built, the Seawise Giant, was sailed to and beached in Alang for demolition in 2009. And the process is simple. As the massive crafts are beached during high tide, the water recedes, and with it, the manual labourers hoard the site to begin dismantling as fast as possible, salvaging what they may and reducing the rest to scrap metal. Over 6,900 crafts have been broken down over the years, with a capacity to break at least 450 ships annually. Extensive controversy has been fueled over Alang's contribution to the safety of its workers, as well as the environment. The beach has become a storage facility for a variety of toxic wastes, polluting the beach and destroying massive amounts of marine life. What's worse, its working conditions are horrific, and jobs will be enforced, despite the workers' hesitation to finish the job. Last year alone, 24 deaths and 9 injuries occurred at various beaching yards in South Asia. From July to September, 3 workers lost their lives while breaking ships in Alang. 4 days later, another 2 died. While the shipping companies are aware of the dangers at hand, as well as the catastrophic polluting practices, the extremely high profit that ship owners make by selling to cash buyers has both a human cost as well as an environmental one. Despite this, the workers remain upbeat. As one cutter succinctly puts it, "The ship dies so we can survive."